All right, everybody. All right, we're going to go over today the release from last week, 26 October. Okay, so first thing we're going to go over is the first one is improved ticket coloring on timeline. We've improved the ticket coloring to include the progress of the engineer's time on site and traveling to site, as well as improve the ticket coloring for fixed and proposed appointments on the timeline as well. So just using this example here, you'll see as your engineer is progressing through the ticket, uh, you'll see updates to the ticket coloring. So when it is published, you already know it's blue, it's sitting on the FMA. When the engineer starts to travel, he hits the drive button, it's going to be the striped green. When he hits the arrived on site button, it's going to turn into this light green. And as before, when he's reported the ticket, it's going to turn green. So the two new ones are the light green and the green, as well as we've improved the fixed and proposed ticket coloring. So see here we have a light yellow and a dark yellow. The light yellow is the proposed appointment, and you see we have new messaging here for every status as well. So it's easy to remember. A proposed appointment is scheduled and not yet visible to the engineer, and a fixed time ticket here. An appointment is confirmed with the customer and is fixed service window is not yet visible to the engineer. Once you publish those, it'll turn the striped blue, and then the blue, and then the greens after that. We'll take a look at the green progress as I show you FMA stuff later. A little caveat from last week. It probably doesn't affect anybody today, but on the day of release, since we removed some different coloring, some published tickets were appearing white, but as they progressed through the ticket workflow, they did update to the correct status. It's probably no longer the case right now, but um, yeah, just wanted to let you know anyways. We've also improved or added the same coloring for ticket colorings to the map icons as well. So as it progresses through the timeline, it'll also progress the same on the map as well. Okay, moving on to the next one, pop-up forms. Pop-up forms is a new feature we've added um, with the main focus for the FMA, but we've also included to use pop-up forms in the workplace. The use case is that we want to have checks for the engineer. So when he hits the drive button or the arrived on site button or the report button, you can have a list of questions to ask the engineer. Hey, before he drives, hey, do you have your hard hat? Do you have your security shoes? Do you have your security clearance? Do you have your um, whatever ID, whatever you need? What you can add whatever questions you need to ask the engineer at any point throughout the workflow. Um, it's a really useful feature to gather specific information or provide instructions to an engineer and to gather answers. Also, on the other side in the workplace, you can have it for your dispatchers. If dispatchers need to have a checklist of sorts before they make an appointment, does engineer or does the engineer need skills? Is there parts needed for the ticket? Is the parts ordered for the ticket? Whatever, we can show that in the workplace as well. Um, right now, pop-up forms can be created. I'm going to go to our integration environment because we have this integrated into our integration environment. Pop-up forms can be created the same place forms can be created. You simply hit the plus button here and you'll see create new pop-up where you simply click on it and you can create new pop-ups. Right now, accounts users can create as many pop-ups as needed, but right now you still need support, field code support to get this integrated into your workflows. Um, so best case, create the pop-ups you need with a list of questions and so on and so forth, and then contact support to get it integrated into your workflows. So let's show you it in action. So I'm going to go to our test workflow here. It's taking a second here. Okay, so you can name your form. You select your object. Right now, we only have ticket object. You pick the workflow you want it for, description, the form type. You can name it whatever you want. Pre-appointment check, post-appointment check, whatever form type you need. You can reuse these form types as you create them, and the project if you want it for a specific project or all projects, whatever. And then you simply create a question or a message or whatever with a list of possible answers they can choose from. You can add as many answers as you need, one question, as many answers as you need. And here we have the continue button or the continue path. If you have this enabled, the regardless of what answer they choose, it'll continue through the pop-up form progression. If you had this off, which we'll see in the next one, if they answer that negative path, in this case here, sorry, excuse my mouse, it's kind of jumpy. Um, engineer has required skills. Yes, is a positive path, so it's going to answer go to the next question. No skills required of the ticket. It's going to go to the next question. If you hit this no, the pop-up form is going to close and it's going to stay in that status until, in this case, you address the skills problem. And then you come back, you open up your pop-up form, and then you go through the positive path. So you can create as many continuation multiple questions as you need for this pop-up form. Um, yeah, so let's see it in action. So in this case, in workplace, you have to have it attached to a button. So as you work with your support team in field code, you can have this placed wherever, like I said, in the workflow. In this case, we have it as status appointment, and we have the button called pop-up form. Yeah, you can name this button whatever you want, pre-appointment check, or whatever you need it to be called. You can have it customized. So in this case, we hit the pop-up form. I'm the dispatcher. Uh, Ticket was assigned to engineer based on whatever. So I'm going to choose this based on skills. Does the engineer require skills? Yes, he does. Any required parts logged in this ticket have been logged in this ticket. No parts needed for this project, for this ticket. So that's cool. It stayed an appointment. It didn't go anywhere. I answered the questions. Are those questions saved? Yes. We have a new user interaction to save these questions. So as you see, we have the feedback, all the feedback from every question in that pop-up in one log entries here. So you see the ticket was assigned. It gives my answer, question asked and answer, question asked and answer. If you hit that pop-up form multiple times, it's going to create a new log entry in the history under user interaction for pop-up feedback with the answers answered from that user. And you'll see who answered that as well. Same applies, answers coming from the FMA. It'll also save a user interaction with the answers provided from the engineer. On that note, let's go check out the FMA version of this, which I have here. Let's see if I do this right here. So we're in the FMA. All right, so I'm going to, first let me hit the drive button, sorry. So I arrived on site, and as soon as I hit the start working button, I have a list of questions for the engineer. Now this is for the engineer. Do you have your safety helmet on? He's gonna say, yes, I do. Do you have the entry card ID and papers ready? Yes, I do. And are you happy this is the last question? I'm overjoyed this is the last question. And you see it went to the next status, so now I'm on site, and it went from start working to end working, so now the engineer is going to work on the ticket. But that's what I wanted to show you anyways. So let's see our feedback. See here, so we now got the light screen as just an example. So you can see now we have engineers started working on site, deliveries and delay as it's not reported on time. Yeah, because this is just a test ticket. So you see here we have a history entry, pop-up feedback from the engineer saved here directly, just as it was when we used it in the workplace. Cool. So, all right, so that's pop-up forms. Please create as many as you need. Contact support to get them integrated into your workflows. That's it for pop-up. Yes. Okay, so now we're going to go back here. The next one is we have a quick view for schedule assistant. What does that mean? We have these pop-ups, as you've seen many times when you open the scheduling assistant. If you happen to miss that pop-up, we now save it here in this new quick view. We can simply open it up and see which pop-ups have popped up for this particular ticket when you open the scheduling assistant. So you can't forget, you will see them at all times when you see them here. Right now, we only have a few, but as we progress going forward in the future, we'll obviously have more pop-ups as needed, more warnings, more errors, more info messages to add there. So this is just the beginning for this feature. All right. So that is the quick view for Scheduling Assistant. SMSs. You can now send SMSs directly from a ticket on the ticket details component. You'll see here though that since I am not a business or enterprise customer, I don't have this feature available because SMS feature is only available for business and enterprise customers. But we do have it on our integration account here. So you can see here, when I click on SMS, it opens up just like email. You simply add a phone number, create a message. You can preview it if you need to, and then you can send it off um, to whatever number you put in there. As well with that, we also have added features, or not features, sorry. We've added permissions. Um, we've improved the comms button. Before, we just had a comms button where you could show the comms button, hide the comms button. Now we have broke it down and nested it under the ticket details component. So now you can hide the whole button, or you can hide individual options for that button. As you see here, we also have a warning that this is available for business enterprise customers only. Um, so if you don't need your dispatchers in this role to see the info button or the email button, you can do that. They can only add comments or whatever. You can now restrict access to the different options under the comms button. On to the next one. We're going to go to automated actions where we now have testing. So before you could always create automated actions and you can create multiple actions to be triggered within that automated action. But many times it wasn't 100% if it was working or not because you could just do it. Now we have testing for each action within the automated action. So here's a send email action. It's untested. You click on the test action icon here. You'll need test tickets in order to test any action. If you don't have test tickets, we have a link here that goes to the manual to show you how to create test tickets. But as you see, we have test tickets already here. So I'll simply just click on one of these test tickets, test action. It's going to give you a warning because this is the email and SMS that it'll actually send a real SMS or email to the recipient in the action. So it's just warning you that it's going to send a real one. You acknowledge it, and you'll get a successful testing right here. And you'll get it successful here. Everything is good. This one is a call external API. It will fail because it's not a real one. So I just want to show you what happens when it fails. So again, you go to test action, you pick a test ticket, test action, it failed. The good thing is it gives you a reason why it fails. So you can send it to your tech guy, developer, whoever, and they can action on that and fix that path, whatever, give you the proper URL you need for this call API. If it fails, it's okay. You can still save your automated action. This action will not work. And you'll see here, if I save it, you'll see we have a new column added to the overview page. This has two actions. One is tested successfully and the other one has not been tested successfully. So if you have 20 actions in there, you'll see, 6 out of 20 have been tested successfully. So that's just for you to see. All right, so that is the big features. Let's move on to improvements. And again, if you have any questions, post them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. In the last release, we introduced storage intervals. As you may or may not remember, we have parts here and we have storage time for parts. If you apply it in the admin panel, this will apply for every part that comes in for this project. You could also apply it at a per part level as needed per part. So you'll see here, I have one already created here. And the feature is that storage intervals are now taken into account when it comes to scheduling. So when we introduced it, you could add a storage interval, but it wasn't actually, let's say, considered when you open a scheduling assistant or optimized or in customer portal. But now it is. And I'll show you how to see that. So in shipping information, I have a storage time of 10 days, right? So when I click on this ticket to schedule it, you'll see I have my engineers available. So it was on the 30th, I sent it off. So 30th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's calendar days. It's not business days, it's calendar days. 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you see here on the 10th day, all my engineers are available in the scheduling. So if I go to the 11th day, you'll see they're not available no more. Um, and this is because the storage interval is no longer active. The PUDO is not there, so you can't schedule a ticket past the 10th day. All the other days will still show available engineers, just like we want. Um, as I mentioned before, the customer portal is also the same. So now when you go to the customer portal, it's the same ticket. You'll see this was from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is easier to see, 8, 9, and 10. So the end user can see, okay, I can schedule, these are happy days. I can request an appointment on one of these days. They can still request here if they want to, but it probably won't work without having to send a part again or whatever. But that's the end user's choice. But you see here, the storage interval is taken into account in the customer portal. All right. Forms. Forms got a lot of love. Now I'm just going to go through. I'm going to list the features, and I'm going to try to show you them in a nice way. So we have. Okay, so the list is reusing fields, custom fields for rendering conditions, field setting icons, custom field tooltips, and start and end time validations for forms and partner portal. So that's a lot to take in. So I'm just going to show you what we have here. So we'll start with create ticket. First thing you'll see is we have icons here. This is default value. This is mandatory. As you scroll down, you can easily see at a glance which fields have field settings applied to them, render conditions. So you don't have, there's no guesswork. You don't have to go in each field and see if there's field settings set to them. You can clearly see at a glance which fields have field settings, which is wonderful for your admin personnel. So that's the first one. This is a hidden field. So you know this is a hidden field. It's a render condition field. It's a mandatory field, and the D is the default field. So reuse fields. As you see, I have SLA in here 3 times now. Not that one. Where is it? SLA. So here we have SLA field, and we've added these little numbers. And once you hover over here, you'll see here that it's displays the number of times this field is used in the current form. As you can see, SLA is used 3 times in this form. And I'm using it to create a dynamic dropdown for SLAs. So let me just show you here. So I have ticket category. And my ticket category I just reduced to break fix, IMACDs, and maintenance with no filter set. Yeah. Then I'm going to go to SLA field with render condition, and it's mandatory. So let's go in here and see. So out of all my SLAs, I have 4 hours same business day, next business day, and same business day, with the filter being if the ticket category equals break fix, only display those SLA options. And this one here as well, second business day and 5 business day, with the filter being ticket category equals IMACD, only show those 2 SLAs. And the hidden one is, it doesn't matter because I have it hidden here, with the filter being ticket category equals maintenance. I don't need an SLA for maintenance, so it's not mandatory and it's not needed, so I can just hide that field. So that's how to set it up and configure it in the form. Now let's go look at it in action. This is just an example of a dynamic dropdown. So ticket category, if they pick break fix, there should have been 3 SLAs to choose from. 4-hour, same business day, next business day, and same business day. If I choose IMACD, I only have 2, second business day and 5 business day. And if I choose maintenance, no SLAs needed. I can save the ticket without having to select an SLA. So that is wonderful. That will make your forms even more dynamic. Have fun with that one. Also want to go over using custom fields now for rendering conditions. So here is an example here. So you see I have 2 custom fields here, closure code and closure code. This leads to another one where we have now a field tooltip for custom fields. Before we just would display the label, but as you know, many custom fields can have the same label because it doesn't have to be unique, and it's hard to, and without having to go to your custom fields and pick the right one, or just testing it out and throwing it in here and seeing which it is, we now include the name because the name is unique for every custom field. So you see here, this is closure code for laptop, and this is closure code for printer, and it's used one time in this form. So let me show you how I used it so you can see. Now this is simply the same thing I did before, where I have it depending on the device category, it's going to show the closure code for laptops or closure code for printer. Um, the one thing I do want to show you is that we have filters, and you can use the closure codes now in the field logic as well for render conditions. So if the device category equals laptop and the closure code is null, we're going to display this field. All custom fields can be used for render conditions and all your field logic you need. And just for an example, we will look at that in action here. 120. So report form. So depending on the when I show laptop, it's going to show the laptop closure codes. And if I pick printer, it's going to display the printer closure codes. And all the info message and the label is all the same, but it's displaying a different one because we chose a different one. Field icon settings, reuse fields, custom fields, tooltips, and start end time validations. Now, we have validations in the form for start and end times. So no longer can you set a work end time before a start time or a start time after an end time. And the same applies to the partner portal for your partners that are using the partner portal. Okay, new icons here. I will show you here in here. We have new icons for incoming tickets from system connection or from customer or cooperation partners. So now as tickets come in, you'll see on your account the system connection icon or the cooperation partner icon here next to the CNI. I don't have any examples here, but you'll see them if they're coming in from a system connection or a cooperation partner in your account. You'll see an icon here that you know it's an external ticket. All right, and then we have analytics got some love. Analytics view was limited on space. We had we needed to free up some space in this. So what we did was we got rid of the title up here, which just said analytics, and we reduced the padding and margin here. So we got a lot more real estate to display the analytics. And as you see, it's a little wider than it was before. So we got a lot more real estate for all your analytics pages to look at. So that should be helpful for your people looking at the analytics page. All right. So that's it for the workplace stuff. Now we're going to move on to the FMA. FMA got some love for both iOS and Android, where we've introduced, as you saw, the pop-up forms. We've also introduced group parts by status. The type and reference fields are now available on the part itself in the FMA. The button layout has been changed, and we added a look around feature for Android. So let me show you what I mean here. Okay, I think I need to end working this real quick. Another pop-up form. Okay. Now, first thing you'll notice here is the button layout. If there's more than 2 buttons, we are now going to display this little kebab menu where you can click on it, and you'll see all the other available buttons at this status step. In this case, this is our integration account, so that's why we have a test button. It's not a normal button within the account, but it's just an example of more than 2 buttons. If we go here to the parts tab, you'll see here now we have it all separated by status. Before it was just all mixed in like that. We've now added a group by none or group by status, where you can simply have, if you have more than one, obviously you can just quickly see which ones are there. Also, as I mentioned before, we have the type and reference field available now. So you see here we have type is shown here and the reference is shown here. So every part that comes in and it has this field, it'll show the type and show the reference. All right, so that is my presentation for the features for the FMA in the workplace. Now let's go through the questions. All right, we have a question here. Customer portal. If earliest time is set to tomorrow and latest time is to 30, but my part ETA is set to 6 November and is available for 5 days, info saved in the storage time field, what will be the slot shown to the end user? Can end user still via customer portal request an appointment outside of parts availability? End user can pick a day after the storage interval, but again, the part won't be yellow. They can pick whatever day. Yeah, they're free to click whatever day. We can't. We're not going to block them from. It's their choice. Um, so yeah, they can choose any time after that. But obviously, then your dispatcher will contact them and say, "Hey, no parts available. Are you really sure? We have to move the part, whatever." So yeah, they can pick out the outside there. But the end user will be placed in the timeline, but no valid appointment is possible. I can show you an example here. Let us go back to our customer portal. So if I pick outside here, and I confirm this, this one was here. So it'll still place it here as a fixed appointment. So yeah, they can still choose it. Okay, so I hope that's a satisfactory answer. Next question, automated action. If one action is marked as failed, but all other actions are marked as successful, and I still trigger the AA by moving ticket around, what will happen with the successful actions? Will system trigger them or will the AA not trigger? Um, the successful ones will trigger, but the unsuccessful ones will not trigger. So if the email one is successful, but your call API one or your send SMN is not successful, the successful ones, the email one will trigger, the rest will not trigger. That's clear. We're not going to break your automated action if just a couple actions aren't working. So that's it for questions. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.